Please be seated. तुम उधर ही चेक कर रहे हो. Is it audible? Okay, thank you. Okay, Rahul Gandhi, Tata, bye bye. So you have to start the poem. Have I summarized it? Summary हो गई poem की? Okay. Tomorrow also we have one more class of English. Some time changes. English class will be in the first slot, 3 to 4:30, and physics will be in the last class tomorrow. है ना? खाली एक कल के लिए change है, not for always, only for tomorrow. So those who don't want to study English आराम से आ सकते हैं. Plan accordingly. You can inform your other friends also. So I start the poem, My Mother at 66. क्या हुआ? 2 मिनट बैठो तो सही, अपने आप ठंडक आ जाएगी. Where's the flamingo? Flamingo का है? बुक ले आओ, जल्दी भाग के जाओ, दौड़ कर आओ. So the theme of this poem is advancing age and fear of loss and separation. I hope everyone has the book. क्यों? घर पे? तो poem कैसे समझोगे? Ask from someone, snatch it from someone, थप्पड़ मार के ए बुक मेरी तो किसी ने शेयर कर लो, मांग लो, आपके लिए अच्छा. कोई पूरा बाउंसर जगह को समझ ही नहीं आएगा सर क्या पक पक कर रहे हैं. At least this is, you have to think and decide. अब वो क्या करेगा पीछे वाला? So my mother at 66 by Kamla Das. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. So the poet was going to Cochin. In fact, she was going towards the airport. Yes, she was in a car and the mother was sitting along with her. What is the meaning of word beside? What is beside? Near. And what is besides? Is it the plural of near? Beside is bagal. Besides is baglo mein. What is besides? के अलावा. Besides means के अलावा. I saw my mother beside me. Doze. What is the meaning of doze? What is the meaning of doze? Quick. नींद आना. स्पेलिंग देखो. नींद आ रही है क्या? I like to cheat besides teach. है ना, शब्दों की हेरा फेरी. Doze is a short sleep, झपकी. Yes, and this doze is झपकी, D-O-Z-E, and D-O-S-E, dose is what? Quantity, amount, dose of vaccine, matra, खुराक, amount, quantity. So an overdose of English will make you doze. सही है ना? दोनों dose आ गया. I saw my mother doze, open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse. The meaning of ashen is like ash, gray. What is the color of ash? Gray. So the mother's face was gray like a corpse. What is corpse? I told you, corpse is the dead body of human beings. And what is the poetic device used over here? Ashen like a corpse is a nice example of simile. And realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. And the poet realized that the mother is looking such only because of her old age. माँ ऐसी दिख रही है अपने बुढ़ापे के कारण. But soon put that thought away. Which thought? The thought of the aging of her old mother. तो माँ बूढ़ी होती जा रही है, ये विचार she kept it aside and she started looking out. So now, in the form of mother, something important. What did she see inside the car? Inside the car, she saw old age. Inside the car, she saw it was lifeless. It was cheerless. And inside the car, she saw inactivity. So this is what she saw in the form of the mother. The mother was totally still. कोई हलचल नहीं थी माँ के अंदर. And the scene inside the car was, it showed old age. It showed there was no life. Mother's face ashen like a corpse. Cheerless. माँ सो रही थी. And inactivity prevailed inside the car. But soon put their thought away and looked out at the young trees sprinting. Sprinting is running, bhagna. Nice example of personification. The trees are shown to be running. Trees cannot run. The car was moving. And the trees look to be running in the opposite direction. Looked out at the young trees sprinting. The merry children spilling out of their homes. Meaning of merry. Meaning of merry. Is it happy? हमको पूछो बताएंगे हैप्पी की अनहैप्पी. क्या ऐसा है, सबको पता है ना. This Mary is happy. This Mary I don't know whether it is happy or unhappy. करोगे तो पता चल जाएगा बाद में. Looked out at the young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. So the happy children, yes, the happy looking children were playing, moving out. Spilling is coming out. बाहर घर के आगे वो खेल रहे थे. So the poet has used the image of trees as well as the children. Now, as for these two images, what is the scene outside which the poet saw? Totally in contrast. So outside, she saw youth, childhood, bachpan, jawan, young trees, we'll just take it as youth. She saw it was full of life, bahar jindagi thi. Outside it was cheerful. And outside she saw the life was full of activity. So this is the contrast which she saw outside compared to the things inside the car. So in very simple words, in Hindi, बाहर जिंदगी में बहाव था, अंदर जिंदगी में ठहराव था. There was no movement inside the car. The married children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport's security check, standing a few yards away. So the question is that what does this image of the children and the tree signify? Yes, you may get an option like it shows flow of life. So that should be the answer. This image of children and the tree signify the spontaneous flow of life outside. बाहर जिंदगी में बहाव था. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away. What is yard? Yard is a distance. कुछ गज की दूरी पे. I looked again at her. The poet looked again at the mothers. Vain, pale as a late winter's moon. Vain is colorless. Pale is weak. तो उसने माँ का फीका और कमजोर चेहरा देखा. And she compares the face of the mother to the winter's moon. Pale as a late winter's moon. What is the poetic device? Poetic device, the use of as. Simple example of simile. A simile again has been used over here. The married children spilling out of their homes. An image is created, so it can be termed as imagery. Trees printing is personification. You can also take those things as imagery plus married children. बच्चे खेलते हुए हंसते खुलते बाहर आ रहे थे. It's again an example of imagery. I looked again at a vein, pale as a late winter's moon. Answer to question number 4 from the text. Why is the mother being compared to the late winter's moon? The winter's moon has no brightness and no strength. There was no brightness and strength on the face of the mother. Hence the comparison, and she uses a simile and compares it to the late winter's moon. समझ में आ गया? As a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache. Familiar, known, जाना पहचाना. एक दर्द. तो पोएट ने अपनी जब माँ का चेहरा देखा तो उसको वही जाना पहचाना दर्द, वही जाने पहचानी पीड़ा महसूस हुई. कौन सी पीड़ा? My childhood's fear. And what is the poet's childhood fear? She has the insecurity of losing her mother or getting separated from the mother. उसको माँ को खो देने का या माँ से बिछुड़ जाने का एक डर हमेशा रहता था. तो वही बचपन का डर था, वही डर उसको आज भी सताने लगा. And felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. Now, sorry. She did not want to show these expressions of fear onto the face, to the mother. वो अपने डर के हावभाव को अपनी माँ को दिखाना नहीं चाहती थी. So she just told the mother before parting away, before going away, see you soon, Amma. Any poetic device? Any poetic device? देखो. Simple example of alliteration, the sound of S. See soon. This is the way you have to dig out the poetic devices. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. Now what does this word, or what does this phrase, the parting word, see you soon, Amma, signify? These words signify that she is giving an assurance, ashwasan, consolation to herself and the mother to meet again. वो अपनी माँ को आश्वासन दे रही है, अम्मा जिंदगी मिले ना दोबारा, but हम जिंदगी में जरूर मिलेंगे दोबारा. This is what she is trying to tell. Now the expressions of fear were still onto her face, so she tried to hide those fear behind a smile, and all I did was smile and smile and smile. Poetic device? Nice example of refrain. The poet went on smiling and smiling at the mother. And she continued smiling, and the smile signifies an attempt by the poet to hide her childhood fear. That is the fear of loss and separation. So this is about this particular poem. If you go to this poem very carefully, you realize that this poem is in single sentence. It is only punctuated with the commas. The car was moving, and along with the moving car or along with the moving time, the thoughts of the poet, one after the another, were also moving. So our thoughts were intertwining, our thoughts mix up हो रहे थे, एक के बाद जुड़ते चले जा रहे थे उस समय के साथ. And maybe to understand the beauty of this poem now, maybe you might think, what is there in the poem? माँ बोली थी, बेटी जा रही थी, माँ को देख के दुखी हो गई, बाहर देख के अपना मूड बनाती है, फिर माँ को देख के दुखी हो जाती है, फिर हंसती रहती ही. क्या था पोयम के अंदर? There is a serious message in this poem to understand. Yes, a deeper meaning which adds the beauty to this poem. This poem shows the life cycle of the human beings. Samay or time keeps on moving. In this poem, the car is moving. The car, you can take it as the moving time. When the car was moving ahead, what was moving behind? Trees. Merry, happy children. Yes. So this is what you can analyze over here. The time was moving. Inside the car, who was there? Old age mother. So the old age was moving ahead, and the youth and the childhood was left behind. समय चल रहा है, बचपन और जवानी पीछे छूट गई है, and the old age is inching. And what is winter? Winter is the last season of the year. So mother was moving towards the last season of her life. Coming on to that word, late winters. What is late winters? Winter खत्म होने के कुछ दिन पहले. So mother was maybe a few days or years away from the last or the final destination of her life. This is what you can understand from this poem. This is what maybe the poet wants to signify by using these simple things. ये है particular poem का ये meaning. For practice, these 5 questions are enough, and the entire poem will be included in these 5 questions. 4 and 5 always have been important. When subjective questions used to be asked, if 4 or 5 question number, it had been asked many a times. Late winter's moon I have discussed. What do the parting words signify? What are the parting words? Parting is, जाने के पहले उसने माँ को क्या कहा? What are the parting words spoken by the poet? See you soon, Amma. What is the meaning of this? This shows that she is giving an assurance and consolation to herself and the mother to meet again. And what does the smile signify? The smile is a brave attempt by the poet to hide her childhood fear. That is the fear of loss and separation. So with this, we are through with poem number 1 of term 1. So as always, no doubts? No doubts. Anyone over here? Any doubts? Yeah. No one. Oh. So we'll take up one more poem for today. Poem number 2, a bit of tedious poem. थोड़ी सी मुश्किल है compared to the earlier one. I'll give you 2 minutes. All of you. I want you to memorize the name of the poem. टिपिकल सा नाम है, तीनों के पास नहीं है बुक, दोनों के पास नहीं है बुक? अच्छा, अरे वाह, तो याद करो, अभी तुमको ही पूछूंगा सबसे पहले। क्या हो गया? क्या रिपीट कर दूं? कुछ भी टाइम पास, क्या नहीं समझ आया? तो मैंने स्टार्ट तो तुम्हारे आने के बाद किया, तुम्हारे तो वेट कर रहा था कि तुम आओ, उसके बाद मैं क्लास स्टार्ट करूं। इतनी छोटी सी पोएम है, तुमको समझ ही नहीं आया कब शुरू हुई और कब खत्म हो गई। द पोएट वॉज गोइंग टू द कोचीन एयरपोर्ट अलॉन्ग विद द मदर. द कार वॉज मूविंग. द मदर वॉज सिटिंग नेक्स्ट टू हर. द मदर वॉज डोजिंग. Her mouth was open. And the mother is very weak. So she compares the face of the mother to that of a corpse. Corpse is lash. But then the poet realized, माँ ऐसी दिख रही है because of her old age. Then she looked outside the car and she saw the trees moving, the happy children playing. So life outside was totally different in contrast to what was inside the car. Now the poet reached the airport, and after a security check, she again came and stood near the mother, and she saw the weak face of the mother. And now she compares the face of the mother to the late winter's moon, because there was no brightness and attraction on the face of the mother. As soon as the poet saw this weak face, her childhood fear came into her heart. And what was the childhood fear? क्या था बचपन का डर? The fear of losing her mother forever. ये डर उसके दिलो दिमाग पे आ गया. She did not want to show this डर, fear onto the mother. So she just told the mother, उसने एक आश्वासन दिया अपने आप को और अपनी माँ को, अम्मा, I'll meet you soon. See you soon, अम्मा. अम्मा, मैं जल्दी मिलूंगी. और जब वो डर के हाव भाव दिख रहे थे, she wanted to hide it. So she just hid those fear emotions behind a smile. And all she did was smile and smile and smile. Now you give a smile. ठीक, चलो. Poem number 2. नहीं, एक मिनट. हाँ, ये पीछे मत देखो. हाँ, बुक बंद करो, बुक बंद. हाँ. What is अपना? Who is the poet of the first poem we just finished? Very good, great. Sit down. Book बंद. हाँ. Which is the second poem we'll be starting now? सब मुझे क्या मालूम, आपको जो पढ़ाना है पढ़ा. I told you to learn. It's a typical name in and therefore I just told you to learn it. और कुछ टाइम पास नहीं था. Okay, चलो. An elementary school classroom in a slum. Sit down. Yes, girls. Name of the poem. Second. Name of the poem. पोयम का नाम बताओ. The school of elementary. The elementary. The elementary. The elementary. No guesses. 4 options. The elementary. Okay, have your seat. Yes. Quick. An elementary classroom in a slum. Galat jawab. Yes. An elementary school from the slum. Very good. Wrong answer. Sit down. अब आ गया. चलो. एक मिनट. Name the poet. Stephen Hawkins. स्टीव. देख के कुछ भी. चलो फाइन. स्प्लेंडर. फिर कोई पल्सर बोलेगा, है ना. बस. So typical name, therefore just trying to discuss this out. Yes. An elementary school classroom in a slum, written by Stephen Spender. This poem talks about the social injustice. Question number. Maybe after the class, you just remind me. I'll come on to the deep water doubts. Okay. So, an elementary school classroom in a slum, written by Stephen Spender. This poem talks about the theme of this poem is the social injustice and class inequalities. Amiri Garibi ka bhedbhav. This poem is about the slum children. We have done a chapter earlier around this theme, Lost Spring. Yes, we have done that chapter. Remember that? In that, particularly the second part about Mukesh. That thing keep in your mind. जो भी उस मुकेश के बारे में था, Bengal makers के बारे में, not मुकेश, Bengal makers के बारे में, keep that thing in your mind. This poem will become very easy to understand. In that earlier chapter, the poet told there are two distinct worlds. One is the world of the Bengal makers. The other is the world of the saukars, politicians, policemen, and so on. Yes. So just try to understand. Two distinct worlds. थोड़ा पिक्चरल तरीके से इस पोएम को करने की कोशिश करेंगे. Two distinct worlds. This is the slum world or the poor world. And I'll use the word the rich world. The world in which we all are living. The bright, beautiful green world in which we all are living. And there's a big barrier, a big obstacle. एक बड़ी सी दीवार है. The great wall of social injustice, class inequalities, and so on. Amiri Garibi ki duri hai. And many a times, the people of this world, they don't know or they are not even aware that such a place exists. उनके बारे में कुछ ज्यादा पता भी नहीं होता है, ना वहां पे गए होते हैं. So let's have this particular thing in your mind. We'll revolve the poem initially in this world. Slum दिखा है. Imagine this is the slum classroom. Okay, slum classroom बनी है क्लास में. This is the slum, पतली गलियां, झोपड़पट्टी, टूटे फूटे. You can imagine anything. कचरों का ढेर, broken houses, and so on. Imagine this. This is a classroom. This is the window of the slum classroom. जैसे खिड़की है. और इन बच्चों को क्या दिखता होगा खिड़की में से? ये broken houses, thinking lanes, garbage. मतलब समझाते हो तो समझाते हो कि मत समझाओ? समझा तो रहा हूं. इंग्लिश तो बोलो ही नहीं. See, I'm trying to adjust Hindi, English both. Yes, if you have any difficulties, you can revert back. You can ask the meaning. I'll give you the meaning in Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, English, 4 languages. जिसको भी चाहिए हो. This is the slum classroom. Some children are sitting in the classroom. ये बच्चे बैठे हैं. And this is the wall of the slum classroom. And the school, in the form of donation, has received some bright, beautiful things. And those bright, beautiful things are put up in the slum classroom. Just imagine this, try to remember this particular thing. Now I'll start the summary of this poem. Bright, beautiful things. This poem is in 4 stanzas. The first stanza talks about the poverty-stricken condition, the malnutrition condition. Malnutrition is bhukmari. It shows the diseased condition of the children sitting in the slum classroom. The second stanza talks about the classroom. And First stanza also talks about this disease condition of the children. The second stanza talks about how some bright and beautiful things which the school has received in donation are put up on the walls of the slum classroom. And these bright and beautiful things have nothing to do with the reality of the children sitting in the slum classroom. जो क्लासरूम के अंदर उनको दिखाया है वो क्लास इन बच्चों की जिंदगी से उसका कोई लेना देना नहीं है. The third stanza talks about the reality, the what type of life these children are living. The life is such fog to endless night. उनके दिन से लेके रात तक कोई brightness नहीं है. Just have that scene of that Bengal makers in your mind. Two distinct worlds. They have left all the minds have become numb. They have lost all the ability to dream. And they have accepted one reality. क्या? जीना यहाँ, मरना यहाँ, उसके सिवा जाना कहाँ. This is what उन्होंने याद हो चीज, बस वही सब चीज यहाँ पर आएगी. So this shows the reality that the children are living a miserable life in the dark holes of the slums. And these bright, beautiful things shown to them in the classroom are tempting some of the children to come out from this dark, miserable world into this bright, beautiful world. And the last stanza, it shows some optimism. The poet is hopeful, and the poet wants some happiness, some beauty to be flooded in the lives of the slum children. Poet चाहता है कि ये दुनिया वाले कुछ करें कि इनकी जिंदगी में भी कुछ खुशियों की बहार आ जाए. And if all the freedom these children are burdened till now, if all the freedom is given to these children, then these children also can create history. They also can create great wonders. This is the summary in short. Now the detailed summary of stanza 1. The poem starts far, far from gusty waves. Far, far. Poetic device. Go for repetition. Gusty is strong. Waves is wind. So the lives of the children has been shown that the lives of these children बहुत दूर है from the powerful strong winds blowing outside. And these gusty waves, you can also take it as a metaphor. Gusty waves, energetic children, like all of you, belonging to this world. That the lives of the slum children is far, far away from the energetic children of the other world. These children are sitting in the classroom with a sad face. Dukhi man se बैठे हैं and disinterest is in what is going on in the class. Class में उनको क्या पढ़ाया जा रहा है उनको कोई लेना देना नहीं है. Totally disinterested. And they're sitting in the class, their hair is scattered on their sad face. दुखी मन से बैठे हैं और उनके बाल बिखरे पड़े हुए उनके दुखी चेहरे के ऊपर. Then a few students have been, the few slum children sitting in the classroom have been shown. A tall girl with a weighed down head. एक लंबी लड़की बैठी है क्लास के अंदर. She should have sat straight, confident, but because of some burden, किसी बोझ के तले, her head is bent down. सिर झुका के डेस्क पे ऐसी वो क्लास के अंदर बैठी है. One more boy is there, a paper seeming boy with red side. पतला दुबला दिखने वाला लड़का is sitting in the class. Red side means the eyes like a rat. Rat is always hunger stricken. चूहा हमेशा खाने की फिराक में रहता है. ये लड़का भूखा प्यासा था, क्लास में बैठे बैठे जुगाड़ देख रहा है, कुछ खाने का हो जाए, डोमिनोज वाला आ रहा है, उसका छीन लूं and so. One more boy is sitting in the class and his body is not properly developed. He is stunted. His body is not fully grown up. And he has acquired or inherited a disease of twisted bone from his parents. Inherited is, what is inherit? विरासत में मिलना, खानदानी बीमारी. उसको एक खानदानी बीमारी मिली है अपने बाप दादाओं से. And when at the study time, he had to recite, he's just reciting that why I am the unlucky one to get this disease. पढ़ाई के समय में वो दोहरा रहा है कि मैं क्यों बदनसीब हूं कि मुझे और कुछ नहीं बट ये ऐसी टेढ़ी अनग्रोथ हड्डी वाली डिजीज मुझे मिली है. And lastly, one sweet boy sitting at the bed, and he is also looking out. All these things show that no interest among the students. He is looking out, and he just sees the game of a squirrel on a tree. वो गिलहरी को खेलते हुए देखता है बाहर, and he starts dreaming a house like a squirrel. वो सपने देखता है कि मेरा भी घर गिलहरी जैसा होवे. But he does not realize that his house is same like that of a squirrel. उसको इतना समझ नहीं आ रहा है कि उसका घर खुद गिलहरी जैसा है. Because where does a squirrel live? In the dark holes of the trees. And this boy is living in the dark holes of the slums. So this boy dreams a house like a squirrel, does not know that his house too is like a squirrel that is living in the dark holes of the slum. This is about stanza 1. Moving ahead, chalte hain stanza 2 pe bhi. Then we'll take up both these stanzas together. Yes. Moving on to second stanza. The school has received some bright, beautiful things in the form of donation. And those bright, beautiful things are put up on the sour cream walls or on the dull walls of the slum classroom. इस बेजान सी क्लासरूम की दीवार पर कुछ जानदार तस्वीरें received in donation are put up. Now, what are those things? Shakespeare's head. Yes, we'll try to put up. Shakespeare. कौन Shakespeare? William Shakespeare. His portrait has been put up in the class. Second, cloudless at dawn. Cloudless means no badal. Dawn, D-A-W-N, not D-O-N. वो वाला dawn नहीं जिसको पकड़ना मुश्किल ही नहीं नामुमकिन है. वो dawn नहीं. D-A-W-N. Sunrise. So bright sunrise without clouds. Yes. So one more image you can सोच सकते हो. A bright sunrise की तस्वीर क्लासरूम के अंदर लगी हुई है. Civilized dome riding all cities. Civilized dome is tall buildings of the cities. शहर की बड़ी-बड़ी इमारतें, the skyscrapers. That picture has been put up on the walls of the slum classroom. Yes, that also maybe we can just try to put up tall buildings of the cities and so. Next, belled flowery Tyrolese Valley. Tyrolese Valley is a flowery valley in Austria, famous for its fragrant, beautiful, enchanting, exotic, mesmerizing flowers. Tyrolese Valley ऑस्ट्रेलिया के फूलों की वादी है जो अपने हसीन, मनमोहक, मंत्रमुग्ध कर देने वाले उसमें फूल हैं. So those bright, beautiful things, Valley's photograph has been put up on the walls of the slum classroom. And last, the open-handed map. Open-handed map means the world map. Which world? Two distinct worlds. Remember it. ये world. The world of the powerful nations. That world map is put up onto the. Just imagine ये world map वहाँ पे बना है. So these are the 5 things which are put up on the walls of the dull classroom. And all these bright, beautiful things have nothing to do with the actual lives of the children sitting in the slum classroom, because there is no brightness in the life. So this world map has been shown to these children. Now the poet tells that this world is not the world of the slum children. ये जो दुनिया दिखाई गई है इनको, या ये जो सुंदर चीजें दिखाई गई इनको, this is not the world of the children. What is their world? Their world is the classroom window, or that is what they can see from the classroom. ये इनकी असली दुनिया है. ये सुंदर चीज उनकी असली दुनिया नहीं है. The world is what they can see through the window of the classroom. And what could they see in the from the window? क्या नजर आएगा उनको? स्लम क्लासरूम में तो क्या स्लम्स नजर आएंगे? Stinking lanes choked with garbage. So can they just visualize that they have a narrow street covered with dark skies? ये उनकी असलियत है. टूटी फूटी सड़कें, गलियां, बदबूदार गलियां, And because of pollution and other things, the dark skies. And their life is far, far away from all the bright and beautiful things shown to them in the slum classroom. Hence, the student look to be disinterested. Maybe you can compare a few things. क्लासरूम के अंदर क्या दिखा है? ब्राइट सनराइज. उनकी जिंदगी में क्या है? फॉगी स्काई. No brightness in their life. Inside the car, inside the class, what is shown to them? Tall buildings of the cities. बाहर उनको क्या नजर आता होगा? Slums, broken houses, yes, flowery valley. बाहर कचरों का ढेर. So you can just contrast that all these things which are shown to these children or the things which are being taught to the children have nothing to do with their reality. And the lives of the children is far, far away from all the bright and beautiful things shown to them in the slum class. So with this, we'll take up the first two stanzas, yes, and बाद में जो difficulty आगे हम करेंगे. I'll come on to that. मैं भी line by line आ रहा हूँ. I'll explain each and everything. Austria, belled flowery taro. Belled is the adjective used for the flowery Tyrolese valley. I'll tell you. I'll explain you everything. Don't worry. So let's start. So, an elementary school classroom in a slum by Stephen Spender. क्या हो गया इसको? Far, far from gusty waves, these children faces. The lives of these children is far, far away from the energetic children or from the flowing powerful winds of the outside world. These children faces like rootless weeds. What is the poetic device? Simple example of simile. The hair torn round their collar. Torn is scattered, बिखरे हुए. अब हिंदी में समझा रहा हूं. Pallor, sad face, दुखी चेहरे पे. तो उनके दुखी चेहरे पे उनके बाल बिखरे पड़े हुए हैं. This again shows the disinterest. The hairs are not combed, बाल बिखरे पड़े. कोई में भी इंटरेस्ट नहीं था पढ़ने के लिए. You can imagine maybe सो रहा होगा, माँ ने बाल पकड़ कर अबे उठ स्कूल जा चल, तो वहां से उठ के क्लास में आ गया. Something like that. Pallor is sad face, दुखी चेहरे पे. The hair torn round the pallor. And these children are like rootless weeds. What is the function of a root? Try to understand the beauty which the poet is trying to tell us. What is the function of a root? Root gives support and stability to a plant. Rootless means no root, no support, no stability. So these children have no support from anywhere. And the slum children are sitting with the sad face inside the classroom. समझ आ गया? Now those few students have been described. The tall girl with her weighed down head. Weighed is burden. Maybe this burden is because of some responsibilities, some family responsibilities, or her economical or financial condition. किसी भी बोझ के तले, but इस लड़की का सिर और चेहरा झुका हुआ है. Next, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. Paper seeming boy. What is the poetic device? कागज जैसा लड़का. Why personification? Simile is comparison with like or as. Metaphor. कागज जैसा लड़का. पतला दुबला. Victim of malnutrition. Hunger stricken with rat's eyes. Rat's eyes means hungry eyes. This again is a metaphor. So एक भूखा प्यासा पतला दुबला सा लड़का क्लास के अंदर बैठा है. Again disinterest, maybe searching here there for food. कुछ जुगाड़ हो जाए, कुछ पिज्जा बर्गर मिल जाए, सोच रहा है. Next, now the next three lines are related to one particular student or one particular child. The stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. His lesson from his desk. You can put a bracket around this. तो ये एक ही तीनों लाइन एक ही स्टूडेंट के लिए. Stunted is undeveloped. A boy is there whose body is not properly developed, and he feels himself to be unlucky. Heir. What is heir? H-E-I-R. ये बाल नहीं है. Heir is वारिस, successor. So अपने आप को एक बदनसीब वारिस मानता है. किस चीज का? Of twisted bones. उसको विरासत में क्या मिला है? What is he acquired from his family? A disease of his body is not developed, and he has acquired a disease of twisted bones. Something like ricket, yes, lack of vitamin D, and so. Reciting a father's Nall disease. Nall actually is that twisted bones की disease होती है. Over here you can take it as the genetic disease. He is reciting the father's Nall disease. That is the खानदानी बीमारी. And what is recite? दोहराना. So he is reciting, that is repeating what maybe his father must have told, what his grandfather must have told, and so on. खानदानी बीमारी है. So he's just repeating those things from his desk. So at the lesson, his lesson from his desk. So from his desk, उसको अपने classroom के अंदर बैठ के, when he had to recite the lesson, उसको अपना जब पाठ पढ़ना था. But what is he reciting? He is reciting the father's Nall disease. वो सोच रहा है मैं बदनसीब क्यों हूं कि मुझे जिंदगी में और कुछ नहीं बट ऐसी टेढ़ी हड्डी, अनग्रोथ, अनडेवलप्ड हड्डी की डिजीज मुझे, या ये बीमारी मुझे खानदानी बीमारी मिली. Maybe this boy is reciting a song from one of the movies of ऋतिक रोशन. ऋतिक रोशन की मूवी आई थी बहुत पहले, यस, लक्ष्य. उसके अंदर वो गाना गाता है, मैं ऐसा क्यों हूं, मैं वैसा क्यों हूं. Maybe this boy also has the same type of disease, and maybe he is reciting the same thing what Hrithik Roshan has recited in his movie, what his father must have recited in the real life, not in the real life, but in the real life. मैं ऐसा क्यों हूं, मैं वैसा क्यों हूं. And one more boy at back of the dim class. Dim class? Yes. So you can just say, and dim over here, the cheerless class. Dull class. Dull ले सकते हो, because there is no excitement, no enthusiasm in the students. So class के अंदर पूरा dull माहौल है. So in this dull class, at back of the dim class, one unnoted sweet and young. किसी का ध्यान नहीं है, एक प्यारा सा बच्चा बैठा है. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in a tree room. So he's just looking out and his eyes start visualizing a dream. वो एक सपने देखने लगता है. किस चीज के सपने? A house like that of a squirrel. Squirrel is गिलहरी. एक गिलहरी को खेलते हुए देखता है, सोचता है कि मेरा भी घर गिलहरी जैसा होगा. Other than this means his real house. He dreams a house like a squirrel, but he is unable to understand that this house where he's staying is same like that of a squirrel, because the squirrel lives in the dark holes of the trees and he lives in the dark holes of the slums. So this is something about the first stanza. Go through these 8 lines very quickly. देखो कहीं पे कोई doubt है क्या? किसका? Recite. किसने पूछा? Should I recite the answer again? Recite means repeat. दो एक दूसरे को दे दो. उसने बताया ना, उसने बताया. सब लोग वैसे भी मारते रहते एक दूसरे को. Other than this means the house where he is actually living, the slum. He dreams a house like a squirrel, does not know that this house where he is living is same like a squirrel. उसको इतनी, तो you can understand that उसको भी सोचने समझने की शक्ति भी शायद डेवलप नहीं है. वो सपने देखता है मेरा घर गिलहरी जैसा होगा, और उसको नहीं पता है कि उसका घर खुद एक गिलहरी जैसा है. Because the squirrel lives where? Not on the tree top. The squirrel lives in the dark holes of the tree. But this he cannot understand. Yes, any doubts? Anyone? नहीं, यहाँ पे no one. Now moving on to the second stanza. The second stanza talks about the interior of the slum classroom. On sour cream walls, donation. Sour is badsurat, unpleasant, dull. Yes. On the sour cream walls, donations. So on the sour cream walls, the neglected walls, on the dull walls of the classroom, some things or some bright, beautiful things received in donation are put up. Simple meaning in Hindi, इन बेजान सी क्लासरूम की दीवारों पर कुछ खूबसूरत और जानदार तस्वीरें या जानदार चीजें लगाई गई हैं, which the school has received in donations. First, Shakespeare's head. ऐसा नहीं कि शेक्सपियर की गर्दन काट के लटका दी है, एंटीक. The portrait of Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. Next, cloudless at dawn. Cloudless, no clouds, dawn, sunrise, morning time, bright sunrise. Third, civilized dome riding all cities. Riding is surrounding. The tall buildings surrounding the city. शहर के इर्द गिर्द बड़ी बड़ी बिल्डिंग की तस्वीरें क्लासरूम के अंदर लगाई. Next, belled flowery Tyrolese Valley. Tyrolese Valley, I told you, it's a flowery valley in Austria, famous for its fragrant, rich, beautiful flowers. Austria, Austria. जिसका Austria was a part of Prussia. आगे उससे. Now, something what you are asking. Belled flowery Tyrolese Valley. What could this word belled signify? Bells are of different shapes. So the flowers of different shapes and sizes, beautiful flowers of different shapes and sizes, were put up on the dull walls of the slum classroom. Maybe to understand the beauty of Tyrolese Valley, I go deeper into this meaning of belled. What is the meaning of bell? Ghanti? Bell is something which creates music. Bell is something which creates music. The bell बजते है खुशी होती है. हाँ, bell बज गई, पकाओ सर चले जाएंगे, है ना? Break मिल गया. Yes. So bell is something which creates music. So just try to understand. The flowers are so beautiful that the music starts ringing in the heart. The bell starts ringing when we see the beautiful flowers of the Tyrolese Valley. Dil mein baje ghantiyan, tang, 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 tang. Maybe this is what the beauty of this word bell may signify. But simple explanation, bell shape different beautiful flowers. Belled flowery Tyrolese Valley. Last, open-handed map, awarding the world, its world. And the last thing which is put up on the wall is the open-handed map. What do you mean by open-handed? खुले हाथ, अपनी मर्जी से. And who can create or control the world? The powerful nations. So the world created by or controlled by the powerful persons. That world map is put up on the walls of the slum classroom. And awarding the world, its world means, so the world of the powerful is shown to the children that this is the world. Ye asli duniya hai. This is what is being shown to the children sitting in the slum classroom. And now the important line. And yet, for these children, which children? Sitting in the slum classroom. For these children, these windows, not this map their world. Now in this poem, wherever the word windows will come, windows means the slum world. And where the word map comes, the rich world. ये चीज को दिमाग में रख लेना. So now the poet tells, the window is the world. It's not कि खिड़की इनकी दुनिया है, but In reality, what they can see through the window, that is the world. Open-ended map, sorry. And yet for these children, these windows, ये इनकी दुनिया है, not this map, their world. Now the world has been described where all the futures painted with a fog. So this bright world has been shown to the children, but what is the actual world of the children? Foggy, dhundla, no brightness at all. What is the poetic device where all the futures painted with a fog? Simple example of alliteration. The sound of F, future and fog has been repeated. Is fog bright or dull? Dull, dhundla. So this shows the children know कि हमारी जिंदगी में कोई सुंदरता नहीं है. Our future is foggy. जीना यहाँ, मरना यहाँ, इसके सिवा जाना का. वही चीज इसके अंदर relate आप कर सकते. Where all the futures painted with a fog. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Sealed is covered. And what is their life? Their life is a narrow street. Narrow street, there is no openness, no freedom. ये पगडंडी है, हमको इसी पे चलना है. Again, I'll link it to Lost Spring. The bangle makers can do nothing else but make bangles. So narrow street is a nice metaphor for restricted life. उनकी जो जिंदगी है वो सीमित है. No openness like the big roads and highways which are shown to them in the slum classroom. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Lead is, it is not lead, it is lead. In chemistry, what you term as PB. PB, metal. Lead is a metal, PB, वही है, gray in color. So this is the life. Restricted life and no brightness. It is covered with dark skies. Far, far from rivers, capes and stars of words. Capes are mountains. Stars of words, education. For stars of words, you can also link to Shakespeare, both equally. So their life is, again, what is the poetic device in the last line of stanza second? Example of repetition. Far, far, उनकी जिंदगी दूर, बहुत दूर है. जो सुंदर चीज है बच्चों को क्लासरूम के अंदर दिखाई गई है. Hence the children look to be disinterested when they are sitting in the slum classroom. I told you, take it as restricted life. Take it as a metaphor. Straightway, you can take it as metaphor. And this poem, if you just realize, it is full of imagery. एक imagery तो आप कहीं भी डाल सकते हो. If you are given options, then choose accordingly. Maybe metaphor may not be given, but they might give imagery. So you can just have an image, narrow street, dark sky. That image is created in the mind. तो imagery तो कहीं पे भी आ सकता है. And keep this thing in your mind. Bell, flowery, Tyrolean valley is again a nice example of imagery. An image is being created. What? Yeah, gray sky. You can take it. Well, the sky is not made of lead. It is like a lead without using light. Yes, you can take it. It's simple. This star of words, I just told it leads to education. But you can also correlate this word to Shakespeare. Because Shakespeare's portrait is there. बाकी सब चीज हो तो contrast आ गया. Shakespeare's contrast is still missing. So I'll try to link the stars of words with Shakespeare. What do you mean by the term star? Star, Tara, star performer, Sitara, star of words, शब्दों का सितारा. आ गया? There can be nobody else but Shakespeare. Star of words. This is the way you can take. to the word Shakespeare. Yes. एक शेक्सपियर को स्टार ऑफ वर्ड्स है, जस्ट रिकलेक्टेड समथिंग. यस, आउट ऑफ द टेक्स्ट. यस, आई जस्ट टेक 2 मिनट्स. चलेगा ना? 2 प्रेशियस मिनट्स ले लूं? चलो, थोड़ा मूड चेंज हो जाएगा. मुहूर्त है क्या आज कोई? आपने क्या बोला था? क्या मैंने क्या बोला था पता ना? नहीं नहीं, बोलो ना, याद दिला दो ना. आई स्टिक टू माय वर्ड. मैंने कब बोला पता है? बोला था ना? बोला था सर, मुझे बोला था अकेले में. चलो, कुछ चेंज अवे फ्रॉम द टेक्स्ट. हाउ डू यू प्रोनाउंस दिस वर्ड? घोटी, घोटी, होटी, घूटी, घोटाए, होटाए. जी साइलेंट कर दो तो, और कुछ ज्यादा साइलेंट मत करो. यस, सब शैतानी आती दिमाग में. यस, डू यू नो व्हाट इज द प्रोनाउंसिएशन ऑफ दिस वर्ड? यस, ज्यादा सीरियस मत हो जाओ, बट आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू. I'm linking this thing with Shakespeare. In one of his books, I've read it. The pronunciation of this word is fish. Sir, don't fish around. क्या बकवास कर रहे हो सर? सर जल्दी छोड़ने को बोला था, दिमाग खपाने को थोड़ी बोला था. मैं बकवास नहीं करता. I also talk sensible. Yes, प्रूव करूं? चलो. How do you read this word? तो इसको क्या प्रोनाउंस कर रहे हो आप? F? हो गई शुरुआत? Have I started correctly? How do you read this word? Plural है. It is women. It is pronounced as women. So O is pronounced as I. हो गया? घोटी को फिटी तो बना दिया. आप खाली SS लेके आना है. Very simple. कैसे पढ़ोगे उसको? नेशन, रेशन या राशन, जो भी बोलो आप. इट इज प्रोनाउंस्ड एज श. हो गया? हैंस प्रूव्ड. वो ठीक है ना, वो ठीक है. ही हैज प्रूव्ड इट. दिस इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू शो इट टू यू. मैं बोला मजाक में लो इसको. डोंट बी दैट सीरियस. एंड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, दिस इज नो डिक्शनरी वर्ड. ये कोई डिक्शनरी में ढूंढना भी मत कि वर्ड क्या है. डिक्शनरी में वर्ड मिलेगा ही नहीं. बट इन वन ऑफ द बुक्स आई रेड दैट. देयरफॉर आई टोल्ड स्टार ऑफ वर्ड्स. कुछ भी सोच सकता है वो. शब्दों का खिलाड़ी. अक्षय था खतरों का खिलाड़ी, ये है शब्दों का खिलाड़ी. यस, हैंस प्रूव्ड. हो गया है ना? चलो, वेरी गुड सर. LHS इज इक्वल टू RHS, है ना? हैंस प्रूव्ड, है ना? यही तो आते 2 सेंटेंस. बाकी तो आसपास देखना पड़ता है क्या लिख रहा है ना? नहीं, एक और आता होगा. लेट कॉमा इफ पॉसिबल, है ना? वो आता है. बीच में नहीं आता, फिर लास्ट आता है हैंस प्रूव्ड. वेरी गुड. So now moving on to the third stanza. I summarize it. Now the reality of the lives of the slum children has been shown in the third stanza. First very important line, the poet tells, surely Shakespeare is wicked. And the map a bad example. Which map? The world map. तो पोएट बोलता है ये शेक्सपियर एंड दिस शेक्सपियर इज विकेड. द मैप अ बैड एग्जांपल. एक्सप्लेनेशन. of important lines. चाहिए तो आप अंडरलाइन भी कर सकते हो इसको. Have patience. First of all, what is the poetic device in the first? Surely Shakespeare is wicked. Come on, इतना क्या सोच रहे हो? Alliteration, surely and Shakespeare. Alliteration तो commonly पकड़ लिया करो. Wicked is cruel. The meaning of wicked is cruel, निर्दय. The poet says Shakespeare is wicked. Explanation why? Shakespeare writes on the beautiful aspects of life. Shakespeare हमेशा सब सुंदर चीजों के बारे में लिखता है. And all these beautiful things have nothing to do with the reality of the slum children. वो अच्छी अच्छी सुंदर चीजों के बारे में लिखता है, सुंदरियों के बारे में लिखता है. ये सुंदर और सुंदरियों का इन बच्चों से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. So why his portrait is put up in the classroom is of no use to the slum children. In a deeper way to understand, suppose in your science classes, yes, the image of Virat Kohli is shown, or in that picture of Virat Kohli is put up in the classroom, and your teacher starts talking about Virat Kohli. Maybe up to some extent ठीक है, लगेगा. आपको इंटरेस्ट कब तक आएगा? जब तक उसका और कौन है इसको हीरोइन? अनुष्का. जब तक उनके चर्चे बताएंगे सर तब तक मजा आएगा. बाकी जब उसकी हिस्ट्री बताना करेगा, it has nothing to do with your science or engineering or medical. So why things about Virat Kohli is being shown in the class is of nothing, is of no use to the children. But if the image of APJ Abdul Kalam is put up, try to understand क्या मैं समझाना चाह रहा हूँ. Do you think it is, you'll term him as wicked or some inspiration? उसकी तस्वीर को देखे कुछ जोश आता है कि yes, a man from an illiterate, poverty-stricken fisherman family rose and became the missile man of India. जब ऐसी चीजें तो अपने आप एक जोश पैदा होता है. Maybe this is what the poet is trying to say. Shakespeare ने जो भी लिखा, it was of no use to the slum children. So why his image is put up in the class? It was of no use. Now, the map, a bad example. Which? The world map. Two reasons. One reason has been explained. One is the hidden meaning. The world map. There are two worlds. The map is a bad example. ये जो world map है, एक गलत उदाहरण सेट कर रहा है बच्चों की दुनिया में. कारण. First, this world is not depicted on the world map. ये जो slum की जो दुनिया है, वो नक्शा तो, उसका नक्शा तो कहीं भी या वो जगह कहीं भी नजर नहीं आ रही है slum इस वर्ल्ड के ऊपर, इस मैप के ऊपर. Two distinct worlds. तो इनका नक्शा यहाँ पे लगा हुआ है. But the world of the slum is nowhere to be seen onto the world map. Second reason, which has been explained in the next few lines. All the bright, beautiful things on the world map are tempting these children to run into this beautiful, bright world. जो चीज उनके पांव से बहुत दूर है, चमकीली चीजें उनको अट्रैक्ट कर रही है. And they also dream of, or they are tempted to run into that beautiful world. ये सुंदर चीजें इनको लालच दे रही है to run from the dark slum world into the bright, open, beautiful world. Hence the poet says it's a bad example. A question to all of you. Can we take it as an optimism कि बच्चे बाहर की दुनिया में जाना चाहते हैं, शायद अपनी दुनिया बसाना चाहते हैं खुद की? Can we take it as an optimism? Yes or no? Something like मुकेश भी तो इस अंधेरी गलियों में आकर कुछ करना चाहता था. तो can we take it as the optimistic attitude or the positive attitude of the children? Yes or no? ले सकते हैं, ले सकते हो ना? But I'll say no. Read the first two words of the second line of the poem. Now try to understand. What are these children? These children are like rootless weeds. They have no support, no stability. कोई support नहीं है. Suppose वो इस दुनिया में से भागकर कैसे भी इस दुनिया में आ भी जाते हैं. What will be their fate? What will be their destiny and future? Will it be bright or dark? कोई support नहीं है. किसी का भी कोई help नहीं मिलेगी. क्या बनेंगे वो? चोर उचक्के, स्मैक्ची, ड्रग पेडलर्स, यही बनेंगे. ये उनका फ्यूचर रहेगा. Maybe उठाई गिरे. Yes. Maybe this is what the poet is telling us. The poet says this map is a bad example on the lives of these children because this map is tempting these children to run away into that bright, beautiful thing, the bright, beautiful world, which is theirs, which is not theirs, जो उनका नहीं है, उनकी पहुंच में नहीं है. And then the poet talks about their life of the slum children. The poet says, these children live in the narrow, small, cramped holes, from fog to endless night. कि ये अंधेरे गलियों में रहते हैं. And the days are foggy. इनके दिन में भी कोई उजाला, कोई brightness नहीं है. And endless darkness. इनकी जो रात है, कभी ना सुबह होने वाली रात जैसी इनकी जिंदगी में अंधेरा छाया हुआ है. This is their reality. And hence the poet says that this is their reality. And this map is setting a bad example because वो उनको ललचा रहा है उस bright दुनिया में जाने के लिए, where they have no support from anyone. Then the poet tells these children when they come out, अब तक classroom के अंदर किससे घिरे हुए हैं? Bright, beautiful things. Now just imagine they are outside the class in the real world. What can they see? They can just see the slums, garbage heaps, और कुछ नहीं, गंदगी, बदबूदार गलियां. So now these children, these poverty-stricken conditions are on the slag heap. Slag is garbage, कचरों के ढेर से घिरे हुए हैं. They are poverty-stricken, and some words have been used. Spectacles of steel with mended class. This is a simple phrase for poverty-stricken. ये गंदगी के शिकार हैं. ये गरीबी के शिकार हैं. They are victims of malnutrition. वे इतने पतले हैं, दुबले हैं. Paper seaming boy with rat's eye. पढ़ा था पहले. When these children are outside, their bones are visible from their skin. उनके हड्डियां नजर आती है उनके शरीर में से. So they are victim of malnutrition. They are poverty-stricken. And they are surrounded by dirt. And wherever they see, they just see the foggy slums all around them. This is their asliyat. This is their fact. ये उनकी असलियत है. But inside the class, they were surrounded by bright, beautiful things. A contrast. So now the poet in the last line of third stanza tells, so blot their maps with a world as big as dooms. Doom over here is hell, narak. The poet tells, इनकी ये जो नरक जैसी जिंदगी है, किसकी? Of the children. Let us put up this world of the slum onto the world map. Suppose this is the world map. Just assume ये world map है. ये तस्वीर suppose यहाँ पे, and this is put up. ये slum world है. Suppose. So this is what the poet is wanting. Let us put the world of the slum onto the world map. So अगर ये होता है, what will happen? When we go through a Google map, we'll come to know such a place exists. हमको ऐसी चीज जगह के बारे में जानकारी मिलेगी. This is something about stanza 3. And then last stanza is simple. खाली third stanza थोड़ा सा confusing है. Last stanza is simple. Now when we people, all the governor, inspector, visitors, that is everyone of this world, we come to know. Now from our world, we look into their window, that is their world. अब हम अपनी दुनिया में से उनकी दुनिया में झांके या इनकी खिड़की में से देखें. What will we see? The same thing. We'll just see that they are living a very pitiable, miserable condition, like catacombs. Catacombs are graveyards, kabristan. So we'll realize that they are living a life like a catacomb. And now the poet gives the message to all of us. Let us show some acceptance. The poet says, break open till they break the town. Break the break is, the poet tells, let us remove all the obstacles. Let us break all the obstacles. जो भी दीवार हैं, सब दूरियां को हटा दो इन दोनों दुनिया के अंदर. And let these children from the dark world come into this bright, beautiful world. Free passage दे दो उनको. Let all the freedom be given to these children. इन बच्चों को सब आजादी दे दो. Let them be given the freedom of expressing themselves. Till now, इनकी जिंदगी कैसे थी? Restricted life. But now let us give them all the freedom. Let them come out from that dark, dirty, miserable world into our bright, beautiful and the green world. हमारी जो सुंदर सुहानी जिंदगी है, उसमें इनको पूरी तरह से आने की आजादी दीजिए. And let them be given the freedom of expressing themselves. उनको जो करना है, उनको करने का मौका दिया जाए. Till now the talent was hidden, buried down. जीना यहाँ मरना या उनको सिखाया जाता था, यही करना है और यही मरना है, यही जीना है. But now let them be given all the freedom. इंजीनियर बनना है, आईआईटी करना है, चल आईआईटी कर ले. डॉक्टर बनना है, चल मेडिकल कर ले. कुछ भी करना है, आजा रेजोनेंस आजा, अच्छी पढ़ाई करा देंगे तेरी, है ना. थोड़ा प्रमोट कर रहा हूँ. Let them be given all the freedom. And if all this freedom is given to these children, then they can also create wonders. And the last important line of this poem, history theirs, whose language is the sun. A nice metaphor has been used. The poet tells that these children, if they are given all freedom, वे भी दुनिया में एक इतिहास में अपना नाम रख सकते हैं. They can also create history. Now, who can create world record and history? It's not that any Tom, Dick and Harry can create. ऐसा नहीं कि कोई भी ऐरा गहरा नत्थु खेरा कोई वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड कर देगा. Those who have the talent, temperament, confidence, willpower and the warmth of the sun, जिसके अंदर सूरज जितना तेज and confidence होवे, वो इस जिंदगी में कुछ कर पाएगा. And if these slum children are given such all freedoms, then one day they can also create history. शायद वे भी जिंदगी में इतिहास रच सकते हैं. Because history is created by only those who have the qualities of that of the sun. That is, they have the warmth, the temperament, and the confidence like that of the sun. So this is the summary of the complete poem. So now let us take up the third stanza. Let us take up the third stanza tomorrow. मुझे बोलने तो दो पूरा यार, चिल्ला पड़. ये यही बच्चे सब है जो शांत रहते हैं, है ना. यही बच्चे हैं जो सब शांत रहते हैं. चलो, तो इट्स ऑल फॉर टुडे एंड टुमारो द इंग्लिश क्लास. आप लेट आए थे, ओ हीरो. कैमरे को घुमा दूंगा, पूरा ऑनलाइन वायरल हो जाएगा सब. You both came late. Tomorrow the English class ka time has changed and the English class will be held from 3 to 4:30. The first lecture instead of physics will be English, और English के बदले physics हो जाएगा आपका आखिरी lesson. This is the. Thank you all and enjoy your evening.